What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Logical Response. And folks, I got the perfect article today to show you some of the bias in some of these polls, right? Like some of the manipulations in some of these polls as well, because what we've got coming up is quite insane, if you ask me. And I tried to look into it, but I couldn't find the specific study that was done. I couldn't read none of the crosstabs, none of the questions asked, none of that. Couldn't find it. Even though they stated where it could be located in here, I couldn't locate it myself. So, we're just going to go off of what I think happened. So, this will be an opinion video, as always, I guess. But, check this out, y'all. An alarming number of Republicans want Trump to do another coup. Right now, this is based upon the premise that he tried to coup the government in the first place. That's not what happened, folks. When you back up, look at the whole situation in reality, we see that, okay, Donald Trump saw what he thought to be fraud. But we later learned what Democrats did. They went into the background. In their words, it was a conspiracy. They changed the rules. They went state to state to state and got the state Secretary of State to change the rules and laws around some of the around elections, essentially, like ballot harvesting and the mail-in votes and all this other good garbage. Changed up a bunch of rules and laws with signature verification and all kinds of crap. Right? So, come time election, the Republicans have no idea this was going on in the background. So when we get to election, we see all this crap going on, and we're like, hang on, hey, whoa, that's fraud. So Donald Trump tries to challenge some of this stuff in the courts. And then he gets turned down upon standing, which, once again, I'll reiterate that means that the court basically told Trump, you don't have a right to bring this case. You're not party to damages in this instance. They would need somebody that was actually affected by the fraud to bring the case. It couldn't be Trump. That's what they turned down. So they didn't look at the evidence, and they didn't dismiss the case because there was a lack of evidence, despite what they tell you in the corporate press. Because they love getting out there and say, well, Donald Trump's, all of his court cases were dismissed. They looked at the evidence, and they said there was no evidence of widespread voter fraud, or at least not enough to overturn the election. Right? And that's another trick, the not enough to overturn the election, like the 30 or 40 something cases that he did win, as a matter of fact. They looked at each individual case because they were spread out over the entire country. Pennsylvania, Texas, Missouri, Georgia, New Mexico, Nevada. There's a bunch of places. They looked at each individual case. Was this enough to overturn the results of the entire state? No, it wasn't. So dismissed. They did that with a lot of his cases, right? But you put all these in aggregate together, yeah, maybe so. Especially if you get the ones that were turned down upon standing. But then we come to find out later that a lot of that, hang on, they changed the rules, so that wasn't fraud. So then guess what? The DOJ, they say, oh, he tried to illegally overturn the election. Then they indict the man. It's nuts what they did. It's almost like it was set up. Just from the onset. Set up. Let's change a bunch of rules so that when Donald Trump sees it looks like fraud, he's going to challenge this, and then come to find out it wasn't fraud, then we can go after him criminally for trying to defraud the election. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I just read the news. I'm just saying. I'm not saying they did that. I'm just saying. And something else that I'm just saying is, if you guys could do me a big favor, smash the like button. It really, really helps, y'all. It really, really does. I need to expand. I need to grow. I need to get these videos out to more people. So if y'all could do me that big favor and smash that like button, subscribe if you're new around here, leave a comment, let me know what you think about all this, because some of this is just insanity, if you ask me. And I like to keep you guys up to date with all the insanity of the left. And this is another one. Like, this gives you a deep dive into the mind of a leftist. Check this out, y'all. Nearly 1 in 5 Republicans say that if Trump loses the election, he should declare the results invalid and do whatever it takes to assume office, according to a survey from the Public Religion Research Institute and the Brookings Institute published earlier this month. Now, you gotta love the wording of that. What that sounds like to me is like they could simply survey a bunch of people and say, let's say Kamala Harris come to find out that she commits a bunch of fraud, and Donald Trump finds out about a bunch of fraud that went on in the election. Do you think Donald Trump should just invalidate the results and try to take power away from this person? And a lot of people would be like, yes. That's what's going on here, I bet you. Once again, like I said, I couldn't do a deep dive into this. I'm going to do a little bit more searching for this, so if I get an update to this, if I actually see the study and I actually read the questions, and the question isn't some ridiculous manipulation, I will post another video stating otherwise. But at this point, I'm going to say that this was a very manipulative survey, that they tried to goat people into advocating for violence. Yeah, that's what they're doing here. Watch, you'll see. An even larger number support their party using violence to advance their political aims. Now, in what world do you think, like in what situation would you agree to political violence? Right? Let's say Kamala Harris cheated to win the election, and a bunch of leftists started attacking the Capitol. Or like say Trump wins and leftists start attacking the Capitol. Do you think we should use political violence to quell those riots? Well, yeah, most people will say yes. Bam, there you go. There's your statement. There's your survey. If Trump loses, there are quite a few ways he could try to fight his way into the White House. Politico speculated that the Republican nominee could potentially undermine the vote certification process, convince Republican-led state legislatures to appoint alternate electors, and lobby for a GOP-led House to accept his alternate electors, essentially allowing the House to choose the president. Now, the reason I quotation that part right there that you saw was because, yeah, you know how they're constantly trying to say, well, Trump sent a bunch of fake electors. Yeah, he can't do that. That would make absolutely no sense. That would make the same amount of sense as you, personally, putting together a slate of electors and then trying to send that to Congress to be certified, right? Like they would laugh you out of the building, right? The states have to put those together. Everybody knows this, right? So if the state puts it together, it wasn't Trump that did it. So why the hell is the DOJ going after Trump over this? Shouldn't they go after the people that put the slates of electors together? Not the Trump campaign, Trump surrogates, Trump's lawyers, for crying out loud. Shouldn't that be the state election officials or the state legislatures? But they're not going after the state legislatures, are they? No, they're not. They're not going after the state election officials, are they? No, they're going after Trump. That tells you everything you need to know about two cases. Fani Willis's case and Jack Smith's case. There you go. There's two of the four indictments gone. One of them is already gone, the classified documents. That one's been dismissed outright. Now they're having trouble with all the other ones. The only thing left on the table is the January 6th stuff. And good luck with that, convincing a jury of anybody that Trump incited January 6th riots, considering they started rioting before he was even done speaking. Yeah, good luck with that. Very good luck with that. These people are so biased. They're so insane. They don't seem to care about reality. They don't seem to care about logic. They only care about the narrative and pushing lies on everybody. And it aggravates me to no end because you're playing with fire here. You're playing with people's lives. All this crap about this election and the last election, for goodness sakes, this is just getting so ridiculous. These people are insane. And I'm not saying that hyperbolically. I'm actually being serious. I think some of these people are outright insane. Meanwhile, only 12% of Democrats surveyed said that if Kamala Harris loses, she should call the results invalid and seize the office. 49% of Americans believe that Trump would use the office of president to become a dictator, while only 28% hold a similar concern about Harris. Now, once again, the Brookings Institute and the Religion Whatever Institute, I forget what it's called, I'm sorry, y'all, but they want you to believe that almost half of the country believes that Donald Trump will become a dictator, will do anything and everything he can to become a dictator. Like, nobody should believe this, and anybody that does needs to have their brain checked. These people are living in a delusion, and it's just so fun to watch sometimes. But, you know, the corporate press, they're right here along with those insane leftists. As a matter of fact, the corporate press is full of leftist activists, actually. While only 28% hold a similar concern about Harris. While disturbing, it's not particularly surprising considering Trump's explicitly authoritarian plan to enact massive deportations and undermine rights and public education. When has he done any of those things, right? The massive deportations, do you think that's authoritarian? That is not authoritarian at all. The people aren't supposed to be in the country. Yeah, there's no authoritarianism behind that whatsoever. And then on the what undermine rights, whose rights and what rights here? Because if you're talking about abortion, that's not a right, folks. That has never been a right, never will be a right. You do not have the right to murder another human being, regardless of the level of development. That level of development doesn't matter, right? Like location doesn't matter either. It's a human freaking being. Now, look, once again, for all the pro-abortion people out there, I understand the pro-choice people, whatever you want to call it. It's still pro-abortion, but you still got to make a choice. But look, I get it. I'm a man of compromise. You want 6, 8, 9 weeks? Fine with that. 12 weeks? You're pushing it. That's plenty of time to make a decision. That's 3 months, y'all. If you can't make that decision in 3 months, you deserve to go to jail for murder. Once, just outright. That's just my opinion. If you kill a 3-month-old baby, that's murder. I'm sorry. Like, you'll never convince me otherwise. Never convince me otherwise. So you'll never convince me that that is a human right to murder another human. Whether you created it or not, it's not a right. Sorry. There's also that pesky promise to become a dictator on day one. I said a dictator on day one, not from day one. The survey also found that Republicans were more likely to support political violence than Democrats, with 29% of Republicans believing that true American patriots may resort to violence to save the country, compared to only 8% of Democrats agreeing with that statement. Now, you see how that was cleverly worded right there. Right? That is to say that it wouldn't be the people actually doing it, would be somebody else doing it. You know how they worded that? Let's go over that right quick. The survey also found that Republicans were more likely to support political violence than Democrats, with 29% of Republicans believing that true American patriots may resort to violence to save the country, compared with only 8% of Democrats agreeing with that statement. You gotta weave the tapestry of how they love to strategically word their articles on that. That to me sounds like, once again, it's another one of those manipulative questions where they said, do you think that some people may resort to violence? Do you think that true patriots of this country would resort to violence if Kamala Harris steals the election? Well, anybody with a rational brain says, yes, some people may do that. Bam, there you go. There's your question. Yeah, you got to love these surveys and these polls. And this is why Donald Trump is going to blow freaking Kamala Harris out of the water, because these leftist delusional pollsters, they get out there and they poll the same people constantly. And then they'll present that poll to you like this is what the country thinks. No. This is only what the sample, the small sample of the people that you polled think. And if you continuously poll the same people over and over and over, that's why you're not getting different results. They may vary slightly. That's why you're not getting different results. They're pretty continuous all the way across, consistently. Right? So, I don't buy into all this a lot, because you got to look at the crosstabs. You got to look at all this stuff. And when they won't let you go find the survey to see what those questions were, see exactly how many people they surveyed, blah, 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 to look into this. Yeah, I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to put but a grain of salt on there, but you love the corporate press. They'll come out with this big glaring article. Oh, this is very alarming what some Republicans think. Like, hang on, do Republicans really think that, though? Like, seriously. But, the way they strategically phrase their sentences just blows my mind sometimes. You gotta watch how they do stuff. They're crazy, y'all. Robert P. Jones, president and founder of PRRI, told Axios that the results were particularly disturbing. I've been doing this for 20 years, and these answers are keeping me up at night, Jones said. And that's all to that one, y'all. That is all to that story. They're keeping him up at night. Yeah, I imagine they are. When you ask politically motivated questions, like specifically manipulated questions, and you're surprised at the results, yeah, I'm sorry. These people, they're just trying to put this out there. They're floundering, y'all, like we covered in the last article. If Kamala Harris is coming off the campaign trail, it's 2 weeks before the damn election. That's nuts. They're floundering. She's putting Barack Obama in her place. Huh? Like, why are you doing that? They're failing, y'all. Like, Rasmussen, go look at some of the Rasmussen polls, right? Like, the leftists, they love to say, well, that's just a biased pollster. Yeah, but if you look at their polls historically, they're the most accurate pollster in America. The most accurate pollster. So check out Rasmussen polls, and you'll see exactly which way the country is leaning. Yeah, it's quite clear that Trump is going to win, to me at least. Don't forget about the shadow campaign, though, folks. Especially you guys, Pennsylvania, Michigan, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada. You guys got to get out there and vote, y'all. Got to get out there and go vote. Register everybody you can. And places like Louisiana, it kind of don't matter, to be honest with you, because Trump's, overwhelming margins of victory in Louisiana are going to be insane. Right? So it kind of don't matter. I'm still going to get out there and go vote. Of course, I'm going to participate, because we still have other, down ballot stuff to vote for. So, there's always that. But, yeah. I just think some of this stuff is so biased, and they were just itching to put out this article to say, oh, well, look, Republicans want violence, y'all. Yeah, but we don't ever see violence from Republicans, do we? No, not unless it's incited by leftists. Right? Like, Republicans didn't do the BLM riots, for crying out loud. All these other protests, these college campus protests that get violent, these protests that we constantly see It's constantly left-wing violence. We rarely see any right-wing violence. Yeah, we had January 6th. Sure. But, that was right on the tail end of an entire summer of the left rioting all over the place. And then we get an election stolen from us because Democrats cheated to win. Right? Like, what do you expect people are going to do? Like, when you take all these ballots, these mail-in ballots, Trump is winning. You go to bed. Trump, pretty much won. You go to bed, you wake up, and all of a sudden Joe Biden wins. And then you got Trump telling you it was a bunch of fraud because he saw a bunch of fraud. What do you think is going to happen? Once again, like I speculated in my last video, this all seems like it's set up. It's way too perfect to not be set up. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that if all the pieces just fell into place, that's quite the coincidence if you ask me. It's astonishingly crazy that all those pieces just fell into place. Yeah, right. But, I'm not saying anything. Joe Biden has been in office, so Joe Biden obviously won. And I've put out my beliefs on why I know Joe Biden won. Democrat activists going door to door to door to get people to vote by mail. That's the best way to do it. Because if you go to somebody's house every single day, they'll finally get tired of you and be like, okay, let me fill out the freaking ballot. Blah, 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 blah. I'm tired of this person coming to my door every day. So eventually you'd be like, okay, I'm voting for Biden. Just shut up. It's crazy, y'all. Outright crazy. What Democrats did in 2020. It blows my mind. But at least we have Time Magazine. At least they told us what they did. So we know what to look for. It's great. It's outright great. But I'm rambling at this point. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments section. Do y'all buy into this, that Republicans just want Trump to do another coup? Like, no, that's not how you go about governing the country, for crying out loud. Like, I'm sure there's some Republicans out there that actually would buy into that. But, I imagine for the most part, the Republicans are the party of law and order. We're just normal people. We're not these insane leftist nut jobs, right? For the most part. I mean, I know that we do have our insane right-wing nut jobs, sure. But for the most part, right? Like the percentages they're giving here don't add up to me. Maybe 0.1% of Republicans might buy into all that, but not those large numbers that they were given. Freaking 20%, 49%. Yeah, no. But y'all let me know what y'all think about all this. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.